NHL player stat leaders week 25. There's my shout out to Philly. By the way, all three of these teams, I'm not crazy by the way, I'm just saying all three of these teams are leaders on the stat board there. Also, side note, all the stats that I'm about to show you are all pre Thursday, March 28th games. Let's jump into it, starting with points. Number 1, Nikita Kucherov with 121. Number 2, Connor McDavid with 112. Number 3, Patrick Kane with 102. Number 4, Leon Draisaitl with 99. Number 5, Brad Marchand with 97. Brad Marchand has kind of snuck onto this list. It's amazing that, Pasternak, his line mate, was out, I don't know, I want to say like 6-7 games or more. And then he's back for the past few games, and, we have a Bruin in a top 5 point list. Just happens to be probably one of the best lines in the league. But in any case, let's move on to goals. Number 1, Alex Ovechkin with 49. Leon Draisaitl, number 2, with 46. Number 3, John Tavares with 45. Number 4, we have a tie between Patrick Kane and Steven Stamkos with 41. And number 5, Braden Point. It's the race for 50 here, at least with the top 3 players in Ovi, Draisaitl, and Tavares. Ovi's going to get 50. That's pretty much well a given. But can Draisaitl and Tavares make those career goal numbers before the end of the season? At this point, there's about, I want to say, give or take 6 or so games left. So we'll see. Let's talk about assists. Number 1, Nikita Kucherov with 83. Number 2, Connor McDavid with 73. Number 3, Blake Wheeler with 68. Number 4, Mitch Marner with 65. Number 5, Brent Burns with 64. Number 6, Brad Marchand with 63. Number 7, Patrick Kane with 61. And also tied with 7th spot is Sidney Crosby with 61. Just repeated myself for no reason. I think these are pretty much the usual suspects. Some names have moved around in this list. Connor McDavid is basically been gravitating higher and higher each week. He's probably going to finish in second. I don't think anyone's going to catch up to Kucherov, but I think this is what McDavid has to play for now because Edmonton's not going to make the playoffs. I don't believe it's as of this point it's mathematically they're mathematically eliminated. So it is possible, but they got to jump over like 3 or 4 teams. Not happening. Let's talk about power play goals. Number 1, Braden Point with 20. Number 2, Steven Stamkos with 19. Number 3, a 3-way tie with Mike Hoffman, David Pasternak, and Alex Ovechkin with 17. Mike Hoffman's new onto this list. He's been on it a couple times. But I think he's the only one on that list with a horrible, who's in the minus. And he's not just in the minus. He's like a minus 20 or 22 or something. And that's been Florida's Achilles heel the whole year is that they can't defend from a team perspective or from a defense purely D-man perspective either. And Pasternak, he's out for a while and he's still on this list. It's amazing to me because at one point he came out when he first injured his hand, and he said, how mad he was at himself for disappointing his teammates, because of the injury. And I'm like, really? What did he do that was so bad that he, how did he hurt his hand? Was it outside of hockey? Like what? And then you find out a little while ago that he was coming out of a rink and he slipped and he fell and he braced himself, of course, with his hand and that's how he sprained it. I'm like, dude, anyone can do that. Why? It was just one of those everyday things, random bad luck kind of deals. So in any case, he's still on that list, even though being away for a while, and his teammates are going to benefit from it, especially in the playoffs. Moving on, let's talk about defenseman points. Number 1, Brent Burns was 77. Number 2, Mark Giordano was 72. Number 3, Morgan Riley was 70. Number 4, John Carlson was 67. Number 5, Keith Yandel with 58. Number 6, Chris Letang with 56. And number 7, Roman Josi with 55. This list is pretty much will stay the same here. Giordano and Riley have kind of swapped places all the time. When it comes to talking about the Norris, it seems like a foregone conclusion that this is going to go to Giordano. Like, with all the analysts who get chosen to pick this award, and the journalists, excuse me, it seems to be a foregone conclusion, because as Doughty of the LA Kings so casually mentioned it to a bunch of reporters after a game, Brent Burns is a turnover machine. He turns over the puck at least 3-4 times a game, or a period. Was a period? And Mark Giordano probably has the best balance of any of those players right there in terms of defense and offense. Not to mention he's like 35. And I want to say there's like 2 or 3 players who've ever done it at that age or that old. I'll take a guess here and say it's probably like Lindstrom might be one. Maybe Paul Coffey. Yeah, anyway. Let's talk about hits. Number 1, Ryan Reeves with 290. Number 2, Lawson Krause with 271. Number 3, Tanev with 267. Number 4, Carrier with 266. Number 5, Matt Martin with 259. Number 6, Cedric Paquette with 253. Number 7, we have Radko Gudas with 248. Number 8, Milan Lucic with 246. Number 9, is it Chris or Charlie Wagner with 245? Nothing much to look at here, really. It's been the same guys as always. Lawson Krause from the Arizona Coyotes has really climbed his way up this list. Carrier, for the first time of the Vegas Knights, has fallen more than a couple of spots here, but he's as injured as Ben Bishop is. It seems like every 3-4 games the guy tweaks something and is out another 2-3 games. Otherwise, he would be by far the hits leader on this list. And if you watch these videos, you've heard me say that a billion times already. So let's move on to Faceoff Win Percentage. Starting off at number 1, Claude Giroux. Number 2, Jason Spezza. Number 3, Travis Zajac. Number 4, Adam Lowry. Number 5, Ryan O'Reilly. Ryan O'Reilly, he's back on this list. He's on and off this list. So is Lowry. They're on and offers, we'll call them. On and offers. That's one word, by the way. And then, of course, Zajac, Spezza, and Giroux have always been here. At some point, I know John Tavares gets thrown in that list as well. Let's talk about shooting percentage. Number 1, Leandros Draisaitl. Number 2, Braden Point. Number 3, Joe Pavelski. Number 4, David Perron. Number 5, Elias Peterson. Number 6, Thomas Hertl. Leon Draisaitl has kept his number 1 status on here. You see Elias Pettersson has slipped down from his number 1 spot all the way to 5. Still in the top 5, though. Hey, for a rookie, he's been shooting 20% all season. That's pretty damn good. You also notice that there is 2 Sharks on this list, in Pavelski and Hertl. And I think Joe Thornton is like, I want to say number 7 or number 8. And you always wonder, how does San Jose have so many points in the standings right now when their goalies are so bad? Are under 900 save percentage goalies. Well, when you have 3+ players shooting around 20%, you're potting a lot of goals, and I guess that kind of makes up for it. Yeah, imagine that team with any other goalie in the top 16 teams, and how much better they might do. I mean, you could probably say the same thing about I'm babbling about Connor McDavid and the points that he has right now, because he's second in points. But if he's on any of the top even 12 teams, maybe 10. Let's say 10. Any of those other top teams, he's got a much deeper wingers, more plentiful wingers to play with. Makes you wonder, like, how would he be ahead of Nikita Kucherov right now? Say those 2 guys swap places. Would Kucherov have as many points as he does at the moment? Probably not. Let's talk about shots. Number 1, Nathan McKinnon. Number 2, Tyler Seguin. Number 3, Alex Ovechkin. Number 4, Patrick Kane. Number 5, Brendan Gallagher. Brendan Gallagher is new to this list, and did you know he's got around like 35 or more goals this season? I remember seeing that and just being like, what? He's really been the offensive force driving Montreal, hopefully for them, into the playoff picture because of, as we all know, Drouin has been really peeing the bed for quite some time now, as has Domi. Domi's very on and off as well. In any case, let's talk about block shots. Number 1, Andy Green with 200. Number 2, Nicolas Hjalmarsson. I believe I'm pronouncing that better than I did a couple weeks ago. So, hey, I'll take it. Number 3, Chris Russell with 176. Number 4, Ian Cole with 168. Number 5, Brent Seabrook with 164. Those are all usual suspects. Brent Seabrook is on and off that list. But otherwise, yep, ho-hum. Let's start talking about goalies, starting with goals against average. Number 1, Jordan Binnington with 1.81. Number 2, Ben Bishop with 2.03. Number 3, Robin Lehner with 2.17. Number 4, we have a tie between Thomas Greiss and Jack Campbell with 2.32. And number 5, we have Yaroslav Halak with 2.33. Now, if you notice, I've got some black numbers written beside their GAA numbers there. And that's how many games they've played this season. And Ben Bishop, yeah, so he's got the most with 45 there. And I'm mentioning that because we're going to start talking about the Vezina. And, who's really got a best shot at it, or at least who the nominees might be. I don't think Jordan Binnington, his numbers have generally gone up in that category. I don't see him being mentioned. Maybe for the Calder, of course, he'll be mentioned, but he just hasn't played enough games. I mean, I would say you'd at least have to play like 42, 45 games to be mentioned for the Vezina. So let's move on, but we'll get back to that. Let's talk about save percentage. Number 1, Ben Bishop at .933. Number 2, Jordan Binnington at .930. Number 3, Robin Lehner at .928. Number 4, Andrei Vasilevsky with .927. Number 5, Thomas Greiss with .926. Tied with 6th, we have Jack Campbell and Laurent Brossoit with .925. Again, in red here, beside the save percentages, I put how many games they've played. And by far, Ben Bishop and the Islander collection, the Islander duo, are on this list. Jack Campbell has slid down this list. He's slid off the goals against average list as well, or down it. And yeah, it's because he's slowly playing more games. And I don't think he'd even be in this if we're talking 35 plus games. But I digress. Andrei Vasilevsky. There he is. He's played the most games, and he's 4th in save percentage, .927. That's pretty good. And we're going to get back to him when we talk about wins. Number 1, Andrei Vasilevsky with 37. Number 2, Marc-Andre Fleury with 35. Tied with him is Frederik Andersen. And then we have number 3 spot, Martin Jones with 34. Tied in 4th, we have Carey Price and Sergei Bobrovsky with 33 wins. And number 5, we have Connor Hellebuyck with 32. Again, the little black numbers beside the wins are how many games they've played. And so these are more like the numbers you need to win a Vezina in terms of, games played. But the only thing that you have in common with this list and save percentage and or not really the goals against, is Andrei Vasilevsky. Will probably make his way back onto the goals against, by the way. So, I think it's his to lose. I think the Vezina is his to lose right now. Maybe Frederik Andersen at one point was, in that discussion, and he'd be mentioned maybe in the top 4 or in the top 3. But this last 3 weeks with Toronto, it might be. He's been slipping, yes, but it's the Toronto defense has been so awful as well. It hasn't helped things, and he's been bailing out his D for most of the year. And you think it would be their turn to step up, but they have not. And so Andersen has slipped off those previous 2 lists there. So and maybe Carey Price gets in that discussion. I don't know, but I think Ben Bishop, even though he's played 42. Ben Bishop, 45 games, so far, he only has like 27 wins. His wins aren't even in the 30s yet. So that's might keep him off the Vezina lists, but I think not. I think he'll squeeze in there. Definitely, I think Dallas might get the Jennings. That's my educated guess. That's my bet. I'm sticking to it. But the Islanders will be a close second, for sure. Let's talk about our last little category here, shutouts. Number one, Marc-Andre Fleury with 8, tied with Sergei Bobrovsky. And tied in second spot, we've got Andrei Vasilevsky and Ben Bishop with 6. That's it, that's all. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button if you like this video. As always, I would love to hear any of your thoughts or comments or anything else in those boxes down below there. If you really like this video, smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. And hey, if you happen to have any Hockey Geek friends, please don't feel shy about sharing. Thanks again. We'll see you soon.